So last weekend, my buddy Jim, who has always been a bit of an oddball, convinced me and our friends to go on a fishing trip. We packed our gear, and just as we were about to leave, Jim pulled out a bag of gummy worms, proudly announcing, "This is our bait." We all chuckled, thinking he was just kidding, but Jim was as serious as ever. He claimed that fish had a sweet tooth too and that gummy worms were the secret weapon no one knew about. We humored him, thinking, what's the worst that could happen? And set off on our fishing adventure. As we sat by the lake, Jim enthusiastically threaded a gummy worm onto his hook, casting it into the water with the confidence of an angler who had just discovered the holy grail of fishing. We all sat there, munching on our sandwiches, while Jim sat with an expectant grin, eyes glued to his line. The rest of us were using traditional bait and getting the occasional nibble, but Jim's line remained still for what felt like ages. We were about to start teasing him when suddenly, his rod jerked violently, nearly pulling Jim into the water. With a mix of shock and excitement, Jim reeled in what turned out to be the tiniest fish any of us had ever seen. It was almost as if the fish had come up just to see what kind of joker was using gummy worms. But Jim was ecstatic, holding the little fish up like he had just caught Moby Dick. "See? Told you they can't resist the sweet stuff," he declared triumphantly. We all burst into laughter, enjoying the absurdity of the situation more than the fishing itself. Jim continued to catch a couple more small fries, each one amusingly less impressive than the last. By the end of the day, we hadn't caught much in terms of fish, but we had an abundance of laughs. As we packed up to leave, Jim, still holding his gummy worms, proclaimed, "Well, I guess it turns out the real catch of the day was the friends we made along the bait." We groaned collectively at the pun, knowing full well this fishing trip was one for the books, and resolved to bring gummy worms on every trip from now on, if only for the laughs.